Hey, I hope everyone is having a great day. This is Molo Gaming and I'm back with another Fortnite video. So in today's video then guys, I'm going to be designing a weapon pool for Chapter 2 Season 8. For this video, I'm going to be going over 10 weapons that I want to return next season. Before we get into today's video, please make sure to like and subscribe and use code MOLO Gaming in the Fortnite item shop. That is definitely greatly appreciated. And without further ado, let's get into it. The first gun I would like to see return next season would be the quad launcher. Besides the rocket launcher, we really haven't seen that many explosive weapons in Chapter 2, but this would be one that I could see returning in the future. Some people complain that this gun is a little bit spammy, but personally I think it's a lot of fun. It has a great rate of fire, pretty good damage to builds, so I think it'd be a great gun to return next season. Next up, I want to talk about the bow. Now last season, which was Chapter 2 Season 6, we saw the introduction of bows, and I thought they were a really cool feature to the game. Now I don't necessarily want all the bows back into Fortnite, but I think maybe having one or two each season would be kind of a cool thing. My personal favorite bow has to be the mechanical shockwave bow, but even if you just brought back the basic mechanical bow, I think it could still be popular because it does have its useful points in the game. Another weapon that I'd like to see return in Chapter 2 Season 8 would be the minigun. The last time we saw the minigun was in Chapter 2 Season 2. We also had Brutus's mythic minigun that season, and I'll admit, Brutus's minigun was very overpowered, but just the normal minigun I think is actually a lot of fun. It has an incredible rate of fire with great damage to builds, and I think it's a useful gun when you can use it correctly. This is a weapon that I actually can see returning next season, as it's been a while since we've seen it and it's very popular with a lot of people. The Infantry Rifle is another weapon that I'd like to see return next season. We saw this for a little bit in Chapter 2 Season 6, but it was only for a couple weeks. This thing has really great accuracy as well as an incredible amount of damage. And I think if the AR weapon pool was the Infantry Rifle, the SCAR, and the Burst AR, that would be really awesome because I know I like all of these ARs. Moving on to our number 6 spot, I would like to discuss the Harpoon Gun. This is a little bit of a different one as it's not only a weapon but also a fishing tool. It's very useful for catching fish, but this thing is actually a really great weapon as well. It does 75 damage, but I think the best part of it is it's really good for breaking builds. This is one that I can definitely see returning next season as I know a lot of people are a big fan of it. Alright guys, the next weapon I would like to talk about is the Flit Knock. The last we saw the Flit Knock was in Chapter 2 Season 5, and that was when we had the Laser Beam LTM. This is a really fun and unique weapon because it does really great damage, but it also gives you a cool kickback effect. This is just a really fun gun to use when you're playing around with your friends, and for that reason I definitely want it to return. Now let's talk about the Burst SMG. This weapon actually hasn't been seen for all of Chapter 2, but personally I think that's a real shame because it's a really cool weapon. It's definitely a lot different from the rest of the SMGs as it's not fully automatic, it's only semi-automatic and it's a burst. However, the Burst SMG does an incredible amount of damage to builds and it is really accurate. If you get a couple headshots with this thing, you might send your opponent right back to the lobby. Out of all the snipers that I'd like to return next season, the hunting rifle has to be on the top of the list. It's a very powerful gun that I know is popular with a lot of people, and that's because it is great for trick shotting and just packs a really big punch. This is definitely my favorite sniper as well as a lot of other people's, which is why I definitely want to see it return in Chapter 2 Season 8. Another weapon that I want to see return next season has to be the Charred Shotgun. Out of all the shotguns that we have in Fortnite, this one definitely does the greatest amount of damage. The way you use it is a little bit strange for some people, but if you do use it correctly, a lot of people agree that it is a very powerful shotgun. The last time we saw this weapon in the game was in Chapter 2 Season 4, but I think it's time that we finally see it return. And finally, coming in at number 1, the weapon that I want to see return the most in Chapter 2 Season 8, this has to be the heavy shotgun. Now I can't really see Epic having the Charred Shotgun and the heavy shotgun in the game at the same time, but if one of them has to return, I really want it to be the heavy shotgun. I think this is definitely an underrated weapon, as it not only has really good range, but also does a decent amount of damage. And unlike the Charred Shotgun, it's a very simple gun to use, which I think would be really good for a lot of newer players. I'm really hoping that they bring this one back, because I think it's one of the best guns in the game. So that's going to be all for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I just went over 10 guns that I want to see return in Chapter 2 Season 8. Let me know down below in the comment section what guns that you want to see come back in Fortnite, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless. This is Fluffy. One purchase made with code MOLO Gaming is one bag of food Fluffy gets for the month. Don't let Fluffy starve.